The latest breaking news from UK lawmakers, the BOE's Charlotte Hogg does not, I repeat, does not meet standards for deputy governor. This is after lawmakers actually met yesterday afternoon, and she is coming under a lot of pressure. I don't know whether she'll resign or not, but certainly it's pressure enough to force her possibly to resign this week, as Parliament's Treasury Committee just passed this judgment on her appointment. Now, just a reminder of what the controversy is. First of all, they're reviewing her position, Tom, after she admitted that she didn't disclose to the central bank that her brother works at Barclays, which it regulates. So this was a point of contention. Remember, she was actually appointed chief operating officer back in 2013. Then she was made deputy governor, due to start, I think, in a couple of weeks. And she was widely seen as a possible successor to Mark Carney, certainly the chosen one.
I'm lost. Her brother was at Barclays, and she didn't disclose it or something?
Right. So her brother was at Barclays, and he had a very prominent role in terms of markets and banking. The problem, Tom, is that the Bank of England regulates Barclays.
Yeah, of course.
So, you know, the Brits, they don't like conflict of interest, and I'm not saying there is, but she should have, they say, have disclosed it back when she got the job in 2013.
I mean, why don't our guests help us with this? I mean, is that like something she left off a form, or is it a witch hunt? What's the background here?
Yeah, so Tom, I think it's cumulative. It's not just the lack of disclosure of her brother's role at Barclays.
Yeah.
It was also the fact that her testimony to the Treasury Select Committee went into quite a lot of detail of her attitudes to monetary policy. And she, by her own admission, is not a monetary economist. And on one level, that's what the Treasury Select Committee, the lawmakers in the UK, have been crying out for. A bit of variety, not as much groupthink on the MPC.
Yeah.
But actually, it did really exposed that her ability to challenge the consensus, and for quite a lot of for Treasury Select Committee members, the consensus is too dovish, too anti-Brexit. She wasn't prepared to stand herself aside from her commercial background and give a different perspective to challenge the groupthink that they've been really going after in successive hearings.
Simon, help me here with how this compares and contrasts with the structure of the governors of the Federal Reserve System in America. I mean, the MPC takes great pride in geography. Mr. Carney, with his Canadian affiliation, people like David Blanchflower and Adam Posen launching in from academics. Help me here with the difference of this deputy governor versus a given vice chairman or governor at the Fed.
Yeah, so the route that Charlotte Hogg has taken, she was at Santander, she's been in the commercial banking sphere, then came into the Bank of England as the chief operating officer, as Fran said, and she's moved up onto the MPC and the FPC, and the role of her role in the FPC, clearly where they are providing regulatory oversight to the banking system, makes that conflict of interest with her brother very relevant. But you mentioned in your intro the roles of Danny Blanchflower, also Kristen Forbes, who's due to leave the committee. These are external members brought in from outside the MPC. Charlotte Hogg is not that. She's someone who's been brought in not from the academic sphere, from the commercial banking sphere. And I'm not sure you get that quite as much in the Federal Reserve. There are not as much FOMC members who have that background.
Peter, how much under pressure will she be to resign? I mean, this happened back in 2000, right, where the Treasury Committee advised or recommended against some of the BOE appointments, but at the time, the then Chancellor of the Exchequer, Gordon Brown, said, no, I still support Christopher Alsop, and he went on to serve.
Yeah, this is slightly different in the sense that Charlotte Hogg is an internal MPC candidate, internal Bank of England candidate. So I think that the political pressure on her is rather more significant. Going back to the word that Tom used, I think witch hunt is not a bad one in one sense, because, you know, my sense is, if you like, that over the course of the past 12 months, the Treasury Select Committee has put an awful lot of pressure on the Bank of England and has wanted in some way, I think, to make a sort of sacrifice of at least somebody from a senior Bank of England official. Now, I'm sure that maybe there were one or two people on the TSC who would have been quite happy to make Mark Carney that sacrifice. But now they found the victim in Charlotte Hogg, who I think is an unfortunate victim of the politicisation of central banking here in the UK, and something I guess that Tom is all too familiar with in the United States.
But Peter, do you think this is a way of getting back to Mark Carney? Because I mean, she's a clear appointment of Mark Carney, right? She was almost chosen, handpicked by Governor Carney.
Yeah, it could I suppose, be construed in that sense politically. I mean, as Simon said, she didn't give a particularly brilliant testimony. Then, of course, there is the fact that she left herself wide open to the left hook when it came to the failure to disclose her conflict of interest. So, you know, I do think that there was a sense, potentially, that this is an attempt to hit Mark Carney.